In this video, we're going to do something along similar lines with the previous lesson. We're going to learn how to discover subdomains in Python. Now, if you're new to penetration testing, you should know that subdomain discovery or subdomain enumeration is a very important step in application testing, or better said, in the recon phase of the penetration testing methodology. Now, there are many very good tools that can be used for this purpose. Therefore, you can just go to github.com, clone a repository, and have your automated tool discovery subdomain set up in no time. Now, I use some of these tools myself, tools such as Derb. So we have Derb, Derbuster, GoBuster, Search. So all of these tools are actually used for subdomain discovery. Now, without wasting too much time, let's actually do it. So first, I need to mention that inspiration for this code comes from Abdu Rockigds. I hope I don't butcher his name, from the pythoncode.com website. So I'll link to it in the resources. Okay, now let's first import requests. You already know requests from the previous video. And we'll also import the sys module. So import sys, because we want to provide our domain as a command line argument. Alright, now we need a list of subdomains that we want to test for. And I'm using the list from this repo. So rbsac dns scan subdomains 1000.txt. Alright, but you can choose whatever list you want. So I already downloaded that list and saved it in the folder where the script is going to run, which is on the desktop. So I'll just open it. Let's say subd or sub_list equals open subdomains 1000.txt .read. So we open it and read it in one line. Now this will contain new line characters after each line, so we actually needed to split it. Better said, that this sublist variable is actually a string, so a string of words separated by the new line character. Now what we want is actually a clean list of words that we can use to brute force or to enumerate domains. So we'll say subs equals sub_list split lines, and that's the method that we use. Now in this case, subs is going to be a list here. So far so good. Now for the fun part, let me explain how this or how a subdomain brute forcer works. First, you have a list of words. So number one, you have a list of words to try as a subdomain for a specific domain. Then number two, the script makes a request to each word.subdomain.com, and it analyzes the response, whether you're going for HTTP or HTTPS. And then number three, based on the response, we get valid subdomains. Alright, now how do we actually implement this in Python? Well, I'm glad you asked. So let's actually start with the for loop for sub and subs. So for each word in sublist or in subs list, we'll go for HTTPS schema here for rapidity, but you can test for both HTTP and HTTPS if you want. So I'll say URL_to-check equals F, and I'm going to explain shortly HTTP sub. So for sub, we take sub.sys.argv1. Now F here, if you didn't know, starting Python 3.6, we have F strings. Okay, so f in front of a string here is a string format. What's in the accolades is actually taken as a name from the current context. There are many ways to do string formats in Python, and in my view this is actually one of the cleanest and the coolest. Now for efficiency, we should actually encapsulate everything in a try except construct. So we'll say try requests dot get URL to check. Simple. And then of course we have the except, but not for all the exceptions. We only catch requests, connection errors. So we only look for connection errors. In this case we catch a lot of connection errors, and if we want to catch an error we can just skip to the next iteration of the for loop. So we'll say pass. However, you can get really granular here by catching certain status codes and output them. Now there is a lot of room to play with. However, in this case we'll be just straightforward. So if a connection error occurs, we'll just move on to the next iteration. So we'll say pass. Else, so we have else print valid domain, and then we have printed the domain URL to check. And that's just about it. So this is actually how you write a very simple subdomain discovery tool in a few lines, in just a few lines of Python code. Now let's actually put this in action. So I've saved it. Going to open up a command prompt and then navigate to desktop, and I'm simply going to run it with Python subd.py, and then the domain that I want to test for. So Google doesn't mind if we actually look for a few subdomains. Okay, hit enter. And as you can see, the simplicity of it is just actually beautiful. This thing does its work just as intended. So we already found two subdomains. Now, of course, you can dramatically increase its speed by threading or parallelizing it. You'd work with the threading and queue modules here. You could also have it take multiple arguments, such as custom word lists. You could have it display certain error codes, and you could have it save the results to file instead of just throwing them in the output as it does here. You could have it run recursively, such as checking for subdomains of subdomains, etc. And we might work on such a tool in a more advanced Python for penetration testing course or class. Until then, I'd encourage you to see how you can expand this tool yourself. And also make sure to check out the resources for more good stuff from the pythoncode.com blog.